on Sunday, they are worshiping in such a way you think the heavens are going to open. But they arrive in the office and they are totally different people. I still remember one time some young people, I deal a lot with young people, and I was talking to them, Sura ya kazi. Because now I am involved at work. So we are Christian professionals, but we are dichotomous. We are two people. Now, I left the university in 1977, and my first job was in the development bank. Then after that, somebody from Shell poached me, so I joined Shell. They came for me from the bank. That's how I joined Shell. And I stayed in Shell for around 30 years. So I stayed in Shell for a long time until they called me old, as young as I am. And so that's right. But let me say, many years ago, they are working with the Lord. Do you know how much a tanker costs? When you see the 6 axle tanker, one of them is something like around $50,000. That would be a little more than 15 million shillings. Even if you own one tanker, you're a millionaire. You don't have to own two. So when you pitch something like that, you feel, wow, I'm so happy. So I finally told him, okay, Muse, why did you? I remember I'm in my late 30s, and he is Muse around 60. And so I told him, what is it that you like me to do? So he had a letter of things he wanted me to do for him, or rather my office to do for him. So I told him all of them. I went one at a time. This one I'll do this. This one I'll do this. Oh, this one I need to consult. I cannot do it. So we were very happy. We enjoyed our time together. When he stood up, he was about to go. He opened those days. There was a suitcase that you got to be called Samsonite. You remember? If you are 50 and above, you know the Samsonite. Yeah, they were the business people used to carry it. He opened, flipped it up, came out with an envelope, and started giving me. I was in shock. I stood up. I had never imagined a saved person can pray for another saved person. You know? Now that you have just had a fellowship, how could he? I couldn't believe it. I was actually standing up, almost shouting. Because I could not imagine. You know, all the others, I forgave them. I had no problem with them. Because that is their culture. But this one is born again. In fact, he told me the previous Sunday, he is the one who preached in his church. My goodness. Now, I was in shock. And that caused him to be in shock also. Now, it was his chance to be in shock. See, means I don't understand you. Si ya Yesu inafanywa kiyesu, ya biashara inafanywa biashara. All of a sudden, I understood his philosophy. He left campus, a Christian, believing that everything has to be done in a Christian way. But he has met some of them who are my age mates. And they tell him, you must be pragmatic. Like he said, he was buying a plot on Thika Road. He wanted to construct. One of his mentors told him not to be foolish. There is no way you can buy a plot in Nairobi without money that has no receipt. No, it's not bribe. It's only money that has no receipt. But Nganga told them they can't give such money. So Nganga put a burden on him. So he realized, maybe even Nganga doesn't practice. He just wanted to make it difficult for us. Nobody can. And he went to another one. Again, the same thing. And here is his mentors, who are my age mates, were telling him to be practical. Even me, you see, I have that plot there, that plot there. How do you think I did? You cannot construct a house in Nairobi without talking to the city council people properly. And it's not that you are bribing, it's money without a receipt. So he wanted to move, but then he said, no. What you are told is not like that. So now, Nganga, tell me, do you practice it yourself? And it was my responsibility to start sharing with him until I showed him how many opportunities I have lost because I stuck with the biblical principles. So that you cannot be a Christian if you are not willing to pay the price. If your intention is to do things so that you become rich, my friend, there will be cost to it. There will be opportunities, you can see them there. And it will not work. So I was able to share with him. There are many, many opportunities I've lost. Because I stood to my guns. But I also shared with him. I'm retired. But I'm not begging. God has provided for me. In fact, when I was reaching my 40s, a few of my friends started saying, Nganga, you're running everywhere preaching in our 40s. You remember those days we were retiring in our 50s. You need to start preparing for retirement. And sure enough, I actually took my family to the farm and we started planting. The next time we had planned to go, I got a letter from Kenyatta University asking me to go to preach on a day we are planting. Now the question was, do I go planting or do I go teaching? And I said, how many people are invited by the Christian Union in the university? Very few. Calling me to the students. I have a choice to make. Either to look after myself or do God's work and expect him by the time I retire, he will sort me out. Are you understanding?
Yeah.
If you choose to be a Christian professional, you have to make up your mind. You cannot call yourself a Christian and not follow to the letter the principles of the scripture. Training them on leadership. Another time I was in Central Africa. I received. So anyway, the final process, our process we buy with my wife. So the final process, we had to go both of us to Kajiado for the title. So finally, the things were signed, and now the title, now you have to get a new title. Because I have paid the final check, banker's check to the Masai, so it's me. Those people said, now it's the time you will see us. There's no way you will get that title without anything. And so my agent stands there and says they have refused to type the title. So what shall we do? And at that time I've asked permission from work for the morning because I'm having a meeting in the afternoon. But that time you could drive from Kajiado to Nairobi in 1 hour. So I told him when it reaches 1 o'clock, I'll just start driving to Nairobi. We'll come on that day. He said, you keep coming. Yes. If the Lord knows some of the money belongs to Petro, why would he allow it to continue in my pocket? We'll keep coming until all the money allocated to transport to Kajiado is over. So I'm willing because I'm God's child, isn't it? So if you want me to keep coming, I'll keep coming. So he said, are you aware? They're only asking for 200 shillings. That time. The typing fee, what we were calling typing fee. So I asked, will there be a receipt? No. Brother, Mr. Ganga, sure, they don't give such a receipt. I said, these are people earning salaries. They are employed to type the title. So if I give, I can never claim again that I'm not corrupt. It is not the amount. He knew I had thousands of shillings. They're asking for hundreds. That's why he could not understand. I know you are a busy man. So he just sat there praying. You see, my wife and I praying. The guy just wondering, what kind of people these are. Do you know, I was waiting until 1 o'clock. A few minutes to 1, somebody came from outside and said, hey, Nganga, what are you doing in my office? Somebody with a kipara. So I looked at him. I could hardly recognize him. He said, come to my office. It turns out he is the land, what they call land registrar or land, whatever, registrar for the Kajiado County. Yes. So we went to his office. He said, somebody was with me at Alliance, but was behind me. People normally behind you know you better than he was there. And of course now he had developed a kipara. I wasn't recognize, but he was recognizing me. Yes. So he said, what are you doing in my office? He said, oh, I'm following some title. Oh, some of these papers are yours. I said, so he checked. Nganga. So he called them. Is Nganga's title ready? No, and remember it's about 1 o'clock. They said no. Said, we are not going for lunch until you type it. I sympathize with the girls. They refuse to type during office hours. Now they have to type during their lunch break. And then nothing will come. So he asked for tea. So we are taking tea together. And they are typing. And the seal was given, everything finished, and I drove to Nairobi. That is the God we believe in. Amen. Am I communicating? Yes. So that's what you are talking about when you talk about a Christian professional. We are talking about somebody who will do professional things in a Christian way.
Yes.
Amen.
If you are mixing up, there's a problem. And you know the trouble with God's word? It says you are either all His, God's, or not His at all. The Bible tells us, am I jealous? God. My glory I will share with? No one. So, if there is a lady who helped you to get the plot, so when you are giving testimony, God is great, it's these people lie. I am the one who helped him. If you're honest, you have to give glory to the cow, isn't it? Now, he is saying he wants the glory to fully belong to him. Oh, you gave money, you know, my uncle did, I did that something. Now, you need to come as a Christian professional. You will do things so that the glory will go to him. My recent book that came out last month, this one even Bishop Wenda has not seen, is called A Leader's Work Ethics. Remember, I'm going all this to show you what you need to mentor people about. The first one is talking about living a double life. Second one, about corruption in your professional life. The third one, about good work ethics. One of the biggest problems we are facing with young people is they look at work like a curse. In fact, the first chapter of this book says, is work a curse? That's a question I want to answer. And many people imagine the reason why they are doctors is because they are cursed. In fact, when you hear people giving testimonies about God's provision, it's never about their salary. It's only what they get outside their salary. Am I right? Just listen to many testimonies you hear. Nobody will tell you, I'm so grateful to the Lord. He has given me a job. I was about to buy a plot. No. But if that plot just drops, it will be a testimony. Nobody testifies if the Lord blesses the work of their hands. So I share in my book, young people need to know. Miracles are called miracles because they don't happen regularly. The moment they happen regularly, they are no longer miracles. So you need to understand He is clear. The way He blesses you, He blesses the work of your hands. You are not expected to receive a salary. You are supposed to earn a salary. Many people receive a salary. But if you are a Christian professional, you don't receive a salary. You do what? You earn it. That's what you are talking about. My friend, this problem of wrong philosophy of work is so serious, it's the basis of our corruption. Because the moment you believe clearly that what you buy with your own salary is not a blessing, it makes you very interested in things when you don't work for. So most people will think about, they do deals. I think they are called deals. I did a deal, which is the other word for I conned people. Now you need to understand clearly, there is no heaven for people who do deals. You must add value. I must pay you for adding value to my life. If you con me, you'll be on your way to hell. Because that's not the Christian thing to do. And it's important to ask yourself, you have a contract, a job contract. And the job contract is for 100,000 shillings for a month or 5 days, 5-day week, 8 hours. That's 40 hours per week. Now, how many of those hours are you working for the money? Some people even use office hours to preach. The job description does not include preaching. Am I getting my point? You know, if you truly are a Christian professional, during the end of the month, you will tell the boss, I know you gave me 100,000, but about 10% of my time I was preaching. So I have told HR, reduce my salary, I only want to earn 90,000. Because the 10,000 is left. And when people are in hell, it will not matter how you told. Am I communicating? We are talking about a Christian professional. He does not receive money instead. He earns it. And so you need to understand that you cannot be a Christian when you are looking for shortcuts rather than working and God blessing the work of your hands. That gives you the background of the issues that we need to be dealing with as mentors. The first thing is, check ourselves. Are we actually living like that or not? Before we can go to talk to mentees, are we ourselves living like that? And I think it's an important thing for us to deal with. And I cannot make that decision for you. Let me read a few verses. Proverbs 29 verse 2. When the righteous thrive, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people groan. We are talking about a Christian professional. You can know you are a Christian professional because when you are made a supervisor, the people thrive. But some people are made supervisors and the people groan. You know, nobody wants to work with a boss who does not think about their welfare. Let me look at Micah 6 verse 8. He has shown you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. Our text is taken from the book of Luke, chapter 3. The book of Luke, chapter 3, is about John the Baptist addressing himself to professionals. Being questioned about what professionals can do to do their work and still go to heaven. That was their worry. Can we really work and still go to heaven? He gave them the answers. Verse 11. Luke chapter 3 verse 11. John answered, anyone who has 2 shirts should share with the one who has more. And anyone who has food should do the same. John told them, you really want to go to heaven? You are a soldier, you are a teacher, whatever your profession, it should be seen by the fact that you are a people person. Whoever you are with, you think about their welfare. You are not the kind of a person who says that you are employed to work. I don't want to know about your problems. They are personal. They are not work related. If you are a Christian, you will be interested in your staff in terms of how they are improving beyond their work. So you are interested in how are they eating? Are they getting enough? What kind of salary are they getting? And I know that happens. I know that when I joined Shell, because I was working for a parasito bank, whatever salary, and I was praying as to whether God wants me to move. So it's a way of checking up. I doubled my salary. You know, when the personal manager asked me how much I want, I just took the salary I was getting, multiplied by 2, because I was happy where I was working, and they're after me. I got it. Then, at the end of the year, during the staff appraisal, my boss said, what? How can they pay you so little? Remember me, I thought I was earning double. He is the one who went to negotiate with HR for my salary to be adjusted properly. Because you see, when I asked for double, no wonder the personal manager did not negotiate. Because I was asking for too little. Are you getting my problem? Yeah. And that's why you needed a mentor. Because I had a mentor, I would have said, I'm going to share what kind of money should I ask for. And because the mentor is supposed to be somebody who has more contacts, he has somebody he can ask in all industry, how much do they pay? That's why when you sit and you have not mentored yourself, you should change yourself. When you sit and you have no mentee, you should change the mentees. Because there is information you know, not because you are clever, just because you are refusing with it. Freely you have been given, freely give. That's what you need to understand. So anyway, that man negotiated for me for my salary to be adjusted. If you're a Christian professional, you'll be interested in the people you work with. Both the juniors, the colleagues, and the seniors. You never want to embarrass your boss by giving you short work, Then you go to the boardroom and you throw out of the work. Because you picture yourself there and you never want your boss to be embarrassed. So you don't go do show the work. He is telling them, hey, do you really want to go to heaven? John is telling them, you must be interested in people. Are they dressing? Are they eating? You must not just be interested in you eating. Are the others eating? And that's the first qualification of a Christian professional. He's a people person. He shows interest. It does not mean you preach to people during office hours. You show interest in them. You mentor them. You counsel them. You help them to grow in their career. By the time you look for, you say, can I pay you lunch? They already your people. Then during lunch, it's your break. You can now preach. Are we together? Yeah. But if you have not won them at work, you offer them lunch with you? No. But if you have won them professionally, you have just opened the door for ministry to them. Am I clear?
Yes.
So you need to understand, John is saying, you must be a people person. That is what you are to do with your mentees. Help them to see technical things are not enough. They must be interested with the people they are working with. And it is that interest that will open the door for them not only to help people technically, but to also help them find their way to heaven. Are we together?
Yes.
A lot of people are Christians, but nobody wants to be a Christian. For example, you are a cashier who says, you have a voucher, I give you the voucher, you keep keeping me there on the line for 5 hours. Then later you say, maybe I UT, to be as disorganized as you. I'm unlikely to want to be with you. Because your work does not serve you. And because it doesn't serve you, you are in the hindrance to the kingdom. Because people start thinking Christians are shoddy. Because the cashier is... Am I communicating? Yes. So that's what he said. Show interest in people. Do go beyond your requirements to show love and concern for others. And then train your mentees to do the same. Now, but John is not finished with them. He goes on. Verse 12. Even tax collectors came to be baptized. Teacher, they asked, what should we do? In other words, they are also interested in being Christian professionals and going to heaven. Verse 13. Don't collect any more than you are required to, he told them. So the first thing is, be a people person. You cannot claim to be a Christian professional and all you're interested in people getting saved. You are not interested in them as people. Because you see, John is talking about food. But the second thing is, you must be somebody who is trustworthy, productive, strictly following the employer or the shareholder's policies. You need to understand, John is telling them, what do you mean by what does it mean to be a godly tax collector? Is to collect according to the law. What does the KRA Act say? Follow it strictly. But if you are a doctor, what is the doctor expected to do? The patient doesn't know. But you know the medical board knows, isn't it? Yes. Don't wait for the medical board to have a case with you. You know what you need to do. And you must follow strictly what your professional requirements are. That's what the tax collector is being told. So, you cannot do your job your own way unless you own the company yourself. If you own the company, it's okay, you can mess it up, it's your problem. But if you are an employee of the shareholders, whatever policy the shareholders are put, you first of all recommend the changes. Are we together? Yes. You can't call yourself a Christian and you are running things your own way. I do it my way. It's not your company. You cannot do it. I'm collecting the tax I want. No. There's the Roman government has a policy and a requirement, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So it's important to understand. So if you are calling yourself Christian professionals, you must do things the way the owner of the company determines. Mm-hmm. That was the foolishness of the guy who got 1 talent. He is told to look after the talent. Instead he buries, isn't it? Now the trouble with him at the end of the journey, he went to I don't know how you gnash your teeth, but he went where there is gnashing of teeth. So you need to understand as a professional, you must tell me, are you strictly following your professional requirements? Or are you cutting corners? You cannot claim to be a Christian professional when that is not what is happening. Question. Are you setting a good example? If a young person was to do exactly what you do as a doctor, if a young person was to do what you do as an accountant, if a young man was to do what you do as a civil servant, would that make a better Kenya or a worse Kenya? Are we together? You know, they must have thought John is going to tell them, pray 3 times a day. No. That's what John is telling them. Be professional in what you do. Because the people asking were not priests. They are professionals. So the answer he is giving them is them. And so you need to ask yourself, can that be said? I like what Bishop quoted, Daniel. Daniel was such a sticker to the procedures that when they did a PhD on him, on his failures, they could not find anything that was negligent. And the other one was?
Corruption.
Or corrupt. Yeah. Is that true? Some of us, we don't even go a PhD. Even an assignment could get you. The way you do things is such that. Of course, you keep saying to now never. Now people are saying for us. But it's very important to understand that if you are following the procedure, there is a proof for it, isn't it? To die. Once you are ready to die, there's nothing else they are left with. Because you see, the worst they can do is die, is kill you, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's very important to understand. And let it be clear that once they discover your stand, they leave you. A friend of mine owned a fleet of tankers. He was made a reseller by Shell. I'm the one who took him, but I was not dealing with the reseller. So he told me he's interested. So I took him, the manager who was dealing with the reseller. And he started that. Within no time he realized, you can't move on the road. The police are on your tankers. He told his drivers, I'm a Christian. I'll never give you money for bribing policemen. Yes. But he got a lawyer retainer. Every time they arrest you, let them take you in. With the lawyer will come. I'm willing to share my profit with the lawyer. Now, within 3 months, the police realize they can get nothing. So when they see his tracks and Nganga's tracks, they would rather go for Nganga's. Because you know they are not after enriching the government. They want to enrich themselves. And this one is ready to pay the government every time. Now his tracks go on the road without any problem. Police, that one, let it go. But at your cost, before that time can come, there will be a price. Didn't I say at the beginning? You must be ready to pay the price of your Christian walk. So, in the same way, there are many people, like now he has actually become an oil company. He's now one of the big, small oil companies. Have you heard of River Petroleum?
I know him.
And you know he started a reseller.
I know him.
I'm the one who took him to start at the beginning. Now he runs a multi-billion company in an industry that you have just described.
Yes. And
up to now, unless his workers do behind his back, he is strict not to get involved in one of those dirty things. So he's a very good example. So you need to understand, that's why you can also run a police, you can also run a matatu fleet as a Christian. Because God calls you there to set an example. Because a lot of business people in matatus bribe regularly, and they say, what can I do? So we need a Christian who will start them, ready to share the money with the government. Because you'll be arrested and be arrested and be arrested, and you'll keep paying the fines. Are we together? Until the police know there are people who can never bribe. But you don't say, I can't bribe. Those are words. You have to be locked up first, isn't it? You know, the other day I was running a petroleum workshop. I'm a member of Petroleum Institute, so they use me for training staff. And it was full of managers from all the companies. And then, I don't know how we ended up into issues of integrity. One manager put up his hand and said, Mr. Nganga, you know, you are older than us. You understand in oil industry, there's no way you can be in it without having to compromise somewhere. So you must have compromised longer than us. Of course. He is not asking me. He is telling me. When he finished, I told him, I can see you have made an assumption that we are all the same. I don't know what example to give you, but maybe I can tell you, looking at your age, maybe you have driven longer than your life. Do you know I have never bribed even one? The manager said, what? In Kenya? But of course, being a distributor manager, I'm driving everywhere, isn't it? And I'm being a preacher, I'm still driving, isn't it? But I have never bribed even. What is even more interesting, I have never been tempted to bribe. You know, there are things the devil knows how to tempt me. That's not one of them. Okay, see my point? There's no time I'm struggling. Do I pay or do I not pay? Because I know that's not an area. Somehow I have the devil, or none of us is beyond the devil. But that's not the area he specializes on. Because that's a matter I made up my mind a long time ago. So it doesn't come in. But I also admitted to them I've actually been locked up. Because you must be ready to get locked up. There's no way you'll be in Kenya Road for all the years without ever bribing once if you are not ready to be locked. What I have discovered is that once you are ready to be locked up, you are not locked up. Once you are not ready to be locked up, you will compromise. Are we together? But you must be ready to be locked up. Then the Lord keeps. The other day I talked like that with a young man. Then I myself, it was I think around the other year, around Jamhuri Day, I was doing some exercise in Lavington, and I was meeting some of my friends at the junction, those who know Nairobi. And there is a valley before you come to the junction from Lavington. And I was coming up, and I realized I hate being late. I was realizing I'm getting late. Then I saw there was a free lane. I used it only to reach the end and realize it's turning to the left. So I have to find a way of coming back to join. And the police were waiting there. I wasn't seeing them. When I said, do you remember what you did out there? Yes. But you know, I didn't want to go that direction. Says, thank you, I understand. We are going to the police. Open the door. So I opened the door. I think he expected me to be frightened. I told them, I agree what I did is wrong, but you have two alternatives. Either you forgive me or take me in. I choose to take you in. So I realized even with the police, the meeting I wanted to attend, finished. Now I'm going to the police station, and I was ready. I said, there must be a reason why God does not want me to attend that meeting. I want to fit into God's program. So we went talking. But the jam was so serious, we took forever, moving one mood to another. We were taking a long time. And he kept talking. Do you know by the time we reached the top to go into the junction, he realized, there's no way I'm changing. I'm ready to go. We are going. He just said, Ufungua imulango. He laughed and left. Once you are ready to be locked up, the police might not be willing to lock you up. But do not be sure all the time. Sometimes they will lock you up and have been locked up. So it's important to understand. So I hope I've answered your question.